Voter registration is still on. Use the opportunity to register to vote. On the news this evening, fate of Damian Okoligwe, accused of killing girlfriend, to be decided in November. NBA President Osigwe speaks on proposed 2027 election date change. Bayelsa State Governor Doyediri dumps the PDP. Senate to screen Joash Amupitan as INEC chairman on Thursday. And on the foreign scene, Afghan Taliban, Pakistan agree short truce after deadly clashes. The news continues after the break. Of Justina was found in Damina's apartment at the police headquarters in October 2023. Police said operatives of the Ozuoba Police Division received a complaint of a foul odor coming from Damian's room, reported by a concerned neighbor. Police said operatives responded swiftly, went to the estate, forced open Damian's door, and discovered a Ghana Must Go bag containing the lifeless body of Miss Justina Otwene. The murder trial began in May 2024, 2 months after the Rivers State government took over the case. Today, the trial judge, Justice Chinwe Sirim, fixed the judgment date after hearing the final written addresses from the prosecution counsel, Obadiah Charles Mbaba, representing the state, and defense counsel, Ibikiri Otoribo. Justice Nsirim said judgments will be delivered after reviewing the arguments and evidence presented by both parties. In the meantime, the police in River State are cracking down on another chilling crime. 2 suspected kidnappers involved in the abduction of a 24-year-old woman in Ibueche local government area on September 21 have been arrested by the police in River State. The police spokesperson, Grace Iringekoko, identified the suspects as 25-year-old Ifeanyi Chukwu Alozie and 25-year-old Miracle Nwi Mene. According to her, they were arrested on September 22 by the operatives of the Command Special Operations and Intelligence Team at their hideout in Egwi Eche, following credible intelligence. SP Iringekoko said the suspects confessed to luring the victim through a dating site before abducting her and collecting a ransom of 200,000 naira from her family prior to her release. She added that the suspects remained in custody as investigations continued. Away from arrest to relief, the Chief Judge of River State, Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi, has released 14 inmates from the Port Harcourt Correctional Center. The inmates were free during a jail delivery exercise on Wednesday as part of activities marking the end of the 2024-2025 legal year and commencement of the 2025-2026 legal year. Speaking during the exercise, Justice Chibuzo Amadi said those released were inmates who had spent long periods in custody without trial, had missing case files, had been detained beyond the legal period of their alleged offenses, or whose cases deserved reconsideration under the law.
This exercise is not a mere ritual to usher in the new legal year. It is a constitutional and humanitarian exercise rooted in the power vested in me as the Chief Judge. Under the administration of Criminal Justice Law of Rivers State, we are here to restore hope where it has been dimmed and reaffirm the judiciary role and the last hope of the common man, ensuring that no individual is made to suffer unjustly due to administrative lapses, procedural delay, or systematic inefficiencies.
The Chief Judge said the number of inmates awaiting trial at the Port Harcourt Correctional Center has reduced since he assumed office.
Under my watch, the judiciary has remained committed to doing its part by fast-tracking criminal trial, monitoring remand orders, and ensuring that no one is detained beyond what the law allows. My past gold delivery exercise, particularly the one conducted in July this year, wherein 21 deserving inmates were released, and the drastic reduction of inmates awaiting trial from over 4,000 when I came on board as the Chief Judge to less than 1,000 as shown in the Nigerian Correctional Service 180 days quarterly returns of June 2025.
Correspondent Emeka Otuka reports that with this latest exercise, the Chief Judge has so far released 41 inmates, while magistrates have freed 109 others. This brings the total number of inmates released in the 2024-2025 legal year to 150. And to the energy sector, some stakeholders and anticipated relief from the Dangote refinery still feels far away for Rivers residents. Their comments follow the recent rise in petrol pump prices and the cost of cooking gas across parts of the country that the refinery would help reduce prices. The Eastern Zonal Secretary of IPMAN, Inimba Emmanuel, told our correspondent Soibi Ruwari that although a few Dangote trucks have started arriving, the volume is not enough to meet demand in the state.
When quantity demanded is higher than quantity supply, there certainly there won't be any change whatsoever. Because when you look at the supplies, are the trucks actually coming in? Yeah, we see some drop stop at request. The other day, the other one at Resto Park, one or two other whatever. Those things don't hold water to me, because I believe when you say you have to reach out to every station of the state rather. Dangote cannot supply 100% PMS to this nation.
And elsewhere in Ichiri, the state coordinator of National Union of Road Transport Workers Heavy Duty Section, Kingsley Chinedu Ofuebu, says he has never committed any offense and has never been convicted of any crime. Mr. Ofuebu said this after the chairman of Ichiri local government area, Chima Boniface Njoko, on Monday declared him and one other person wanted for allegedly kidnapping 8 council officials. But in an interview, Ofuebu asked the public to disregard such news.
If police is engaged to make an arrest of his boss or his people, and the police erred in not meeting up the administrative documentation of their arrival, what is the business of the complainants? It should be the police that will bear the consequences, if at all there's any consequences to bear. Does that amount to going to Facebook, going to radio, to declare one wanted without the order of court? I hereby ask the general public to please disregard that declaration of Mr. Kingsley Ofuebu wanted.
We'll take a break. When we return, you hear that the Bayelsa State Governor, Diri, has dumped the PDP. Stay tuned. Back to the energy sector. Some stakeholders in the oil and gas sector say the much anticipated relief from the Dangote refinery still feels far away for Rivers residents. Their comments follow the recent rise in petrol pump prices and the cost of cooking gas across parts of the country, despite earlier promises that the refinery would help reduce prices. The Eastern Zonal Secretary of IPMAN in Ningbi, Emmanuel, told our correspondent Suibi Ruari that although a few Dangote trucks have started arriving, the volume is not enough to meet demands in the state. Mr. Emmanuel explained that the refinery's direct supply alone cannot serve all marketers.
We have support refineries as well, artisanal modular refineries. We have Niger Delta refineries. We have Walter Smith. These are refineries that are also loading every day. Not necessarily Dangote feeding the entire River State. No, this is just a chunk of it coming from Lagos. Okay, you say you're bringing direct to the stations in River State. How many are we getting? How many are we receiving per day to River State? These are things we need to look at.
Also, the Port Harcourt representative of Nupeng, Uche Odua, says he has yet to witness any significant deliveries from the Dangote refinery in Rivers State.
For us, we've not seen, I think clearly, but we've heard, even though we've not confirmed, we've heard that one or two persons have picked. Our concern is where you bring in maybe drivers, for example, and then they haulage these products to people, and then at the end of the day, our interest is in the workers you are employing. How are they protected?
A major shake-up is unfolding in Bayelsa State. The governor, Doye Diri, has resigned from the PDP. Diri announced this today, Wednesday, at the Exco chamber in the Bayelsa State Government House. He said his decision was for an obvious reason, but did not state the reason or the political party to which he will be moving. The Deputy Governor, Lawrence Ehura Jakbo, was absent, but the governor said all those not present at the meeting were on official assignments. In the same vein, a former lawmaker representing Bayelsa East, Senator Ben Murray Bruce, has officially defected to the APC. In a statement shared on X today, Wednesday, the politician said his decision to join the APC was not for politics but for progress. He described President Tinubu as a visionary leader with a deep understanding of Nigeria's economic realities. In a related development, the PDP says it is disappointed by the defection of the Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah to the APC. National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba, in an interview on Channels Television, urged serving governors in the PDP to continue to recognize their role as leaders in the opposition party entrusted with political power by the people who voted for them. Ologunagba also said that the PDP was aware of moles undermining the party's progress. He, however, assured that the PDP National Convention scheduled to be held in Ibadan, Oyo State, in November, would help rejuvenate the party from its foundation and reposition it for future elections. Meanwhile, PDP chieftain Segun Showunmi is proposing a 4-year waiting period for politicians who defect from one political party to another before they can contest elections under their new platform. Showunmi says the recommendation is aimed at curbing Nigeria's growing culture of political opportunism and promoting party stability and accountability. He was speaking on Nigeria Info's Morning Crossfire in Lagos State.
I wanted them to put a law that will say that if you decamp from your party to another party, you have to stay 4 years before you can dare contest in the other party. And the reason for that is that I wanted to slow down the need for people to be decamping and then representing a party they hardly know. I work very hard on behalf of all of us to see how we can strengthen whatever it is we are doing, be it governance, be it development, and be it democratic institutions.
Showunmi also called for constitutional reforms to strengthen Nigeria's democracy by protecting transparency, accountability, and citizen participation. He further urged lawmakers to open up the legal space for constituents to challenge the credentials and documents submitted by political candidates, arguing that restricting the right to political parties alone encourages cover-ups.
we must be careful not to insist that only appointed people, elected people, and former this, former that will pick candidates. I wanted them to ensure that we could litigate on the documents and credentials that candidates put on the table. The way the thing stands now, it's only the political party that can speak on the documents and the credentials of their candidate. And more than likely, they'll pretend not to see the mistakes, and then later on will just be embarrassed.
The president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Afam Osigwe, says what matters most in Nigeria's elections is honesty and fairness, not the date they are held.
Why the laws allow for malpractices and why the adjudication of the cases continue to also they take place in the morning or afternoon or the evening. Quick time to resolve the electoral disputes before swearing in are welcome. Declaration as soon as it's been challenged. And if you agree that that is a legitimate agitation, then any amendment that addresses that solves one of our myriads of problems. We cannot, because somebody is hungry and somebody is not wearing clothes, say that if clothes comes first, he should not wear clothes because food has not come.
However, Mr. Osigwe warned that courts should not get too involved in political cases, that the new reforms will help fix.
But yes, I support any move that ensures that elections are held and electoral disputes are resolved. And we should reduce the timeline for the hearing of the cases. 6 months, 180 days is too much. And also the negative impact of the electoral process on our court system needs to be reduced. The pre-election matter should be taken away from our courts. Parties should be allowed to resolve their disputes and bring forward whoever they want. The court shouldn't be involved in choosing candidates for political parties.
But Secretary of the Obedience Movement in Rivers State, Gogo Wellington, said moving the election dates, parties plan their activities.
Any distortion to the already established political calendar will be seen as a move to undermine the efforts of some political parties that might have not put their house completely together. The Electoral Act put strict timelines to events of political parties and leading to the elections, limits the ability of a lot of political parties to either to do some certain things that they would have maybe had enough time to do.
Wellington added that keeping the present election timetable will give parties enough time to prepare properly for the 2027 polls.
The early 2027 dates for the election is fair enough, and it gives enough time before the handover. So I don't see any cogent reason why elections should be moved in 2026, if not for some sinister reason. So in politics, there are those that it will favor and there are those that it will not favor. There are some that